Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. And for today's video, we are reviewing The Best Worst Thing by Lauren Okie. So I read Trope Thick about like a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. That is her second book. And I'm pretty sure I'd already read the blurb for The Best Worst Thing before I read Trope Thick. And then I read Trope Thick, and then I read the blurb for this one again. And I really enjoyed Trope Thick. So I figured, why don't I pick this book up? And then I picked it up and I started reading it, and I didn't realize that it was third-person narration. And I have been mainly reading dual POV. Like, it just so happens like every book I've picked up happened to be dual POV, and then I just started staying in that. And then this book actually pushed me to get some more third-person romance, and to get back into that and to just expand what I'm reading in romance. So it's not just like cowboy romance and hockey romance. And I really enjoyed this one. This one had a lot of emotional depth, which I talk a lot about that in some of my reviews. I would say, oh, like I feel like this was lacking in emotional depth, or this one had a lot of it, because I'm somebody who likes like the deep books that like talk about sometimes the heavy things, and where like characters are crying, or the other character is really comforting them in moments like that. I don't know why I really gravitate towards that lately, but there's just something about it. I think it like takes a book from being like sometimes superficial and fluffy and just gives it like that depth and that like layered aspect to it, where you're peeling back layers constantly. And this book definitely had it. So this book follows Nicole Spire and Logan Milgram. So Nicole Spire had been with her husband Gabe for like 10 years. About 4 years ago, she had 2 miscarriages, and that's when so about like 4 years ago, 2 to 4 years ago, she had 2 miscarriages, and then realized like her body would just not be conducive to carry a pregnancy to full term. So then she started going the surrogacy route. And the first 2 times that they had put like embryos in her surrogate, it did not take. And this was the last chance on the contract that she would have to do it. And she only also had 2 viable embryos left. So her doctors had actually advised her against doing it. They're like, it hasn't worked the previous 2 times. Like, we don't think that it'll work with these embryos. But she's like still gonna do it because she really wants kids, and she assumes her husband really wants kids. She also hosts a podcast about the infertility. I forget what it's called. Oh yes, I think, yeah, her podcast is called Pretty Infertile. And so she actually films a couple episodes, like a few episodes here and there with her husband, but it's mainly like her. She's the main host. And that's like her job ever since she quit her previous job, which was like, I think it was working in like marketing or something like that, like a company, like an ad agency or something, which is actually where she met Logan, because Logan Milgram is a former colleague. And then she has her best friend who also used to work at that agency and is like friends with both of them. So basically, she comes home from the trip where her surrogate had the last 2 embryos implanted. And she comes in and to her house, and she sees their dog walker's like sweater on the console table, and she just says like, oh, maybe the dog walker just took it off, forgot it there, whatever. And then I guess the dog walker thinks it's her husband Gabe coming home, because she's like, Gabe, is that you? I'm upstairs. And that's when it clicks in for poor Nicole that her husband has been cheating on her with the dog walker. So she like goes off on her husband and is like, what? Like, I thought we wanted to have children together. And then she basically tells her husband, like, hey, I would like a divorce. And then she actually goes to a lawyer, and a lawyer is like, actually, we advise that you don't get a divorce, because I forget what state it is. It might be like Minnesota or something. I think it's like something with an M and an I and an S. I'm blanking on right now, because she lives in California and her surrogate lives in another state. So the lawyer is basically like, well, in the state that your surrogate lives in, when the baby's born, if you are divorced, the state could like not give parental rights to you, and it could revert to the surrogate. And he was like, sometimes people's relationship with the surrogate over the 9 months starts to disintegrate and doesn't end up very well. And so we suggest that you stay married until the end for like at least 2 years, until you get the amended birth certificate with like both your names on it. Then you could file for divorce. So she feels trapped at this point. She feels like, okay, like my husband cheated on me and I can't even leave the marriage. Like, I'm just stuck. I'm trapped. So the night that she learns that her husband cheated on her, she actually goes to her best friend's house, and then her best friend kind of suggests something that like might just take her mind away from it temporarily, and was like, hey, why don't we go to this old colleague's house of yours from the last place that we worked at together, which was Logan Milgram. So she stops at his house, and then they slowly start reconnecting. She ends up being drunk because she was drunk with her friend and debated knocking her, like, you should just knock. And then he like gives her like some food and then takes her back home, and then they start reconnecting. And there's like definitely like hot and cold moments where she's like kind of hesitant to be all in, then she's all in, then she pulls back because of something. She's like, wait, like, he doesn't want to be with me, like, I'm gonna have like a kid, like, I didn't even tell him that, but I'm gonna have a kid. So no way he'd want to be with that. And then she tells him that, and he's like, well, I don't want to stop seeing you. And she's like, what? He was like, I'm 39. Don't you think I've dated people that have had kids? Like, I still want to continue this. And then she pulls back, and he's like, wait, but this is my life too. And so like there's those like pulling back and like yes and no moments, like the hot and cold. But I did still enjoy this book. Typically, like with the hot and cold, I wouldn't always enjoy that, but I think it made sense in this book because of like all the stuff that she's going through. It just like worked in with the emotional depth. Sometimes it doesn't work when there's like not really a ton of emotional depth in the book, and it's just like that constant pullback. But this one, it made sense because like she has to work through like all the things in her mind, and the fact that she's like, like, and he learns, like, wait a second, like, you're not actually, like, divorced from your husband, you haven't started that, and then she has to explain why, and then all of that stuff. And so it's just very interesting. But the way that we learn that he like always had a thing for her from the beginning, and at one point she's like, why did you never tell me that all those years ago, that like you had a thing for me? He's like, what would have changed? He's like, you were married, like, but she's like, you should have told me. And like she got really upset at that, and that was the one thing where I was like, girl, you shouldn't have got upset at that, like he was very right, like what would it have changed? She was like, you don't know. And I'm like, but you were married, so it made sense that he didn't say anything to you. But yes, I did quite enjoy this book. I don't know, like, I've been kind of thinking a lot about the term, like, auto by authors. I don't know if Lauren Okie will be. I'll probably have to read the next one just to see. But I like both books from Lauren Okie, because they've had a lot of good emotional depth to it, and I've been, like, craving that a lot lately. So if you have seen a lot of reviews for The Best Worst Thing, and you were hesitant to pick it up, I gave it a solid 4.5 stars. I think you should read it. But if you're somebody who like doesn't want the whole like baby involved and divorce and things like that, then I wouldn't pick it up. But I really enjoyed it a lot, and it had a lot of great emotional depth. So, excuse me. So that is all for this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss another brand new video from me. You can also follow me at RomanceBeyondVD on Instagram and in Threads, and at Romance Boulevard on TikTok. Until the next one, bye!